Hello, can I be heard? Hi, is there... I have arrived. So this is just gonna be a quick video stream, whatever you might want to call it. Mostly an announcement. Yeah. It's a very quiet morning. I don't know why I decided to do this at like 9 AM my time. Probably not the most convenient. Oh wait, no, it's unlisted. Oh my god, bro. There we go. I think it can be seen now. Oh my god. I had started the stream as like an unlisted stream. I guess that was part of the problem. Yeah, people were probably not seeing it for a bit. Okay. Well, I'm gonna close up a lot of windows now. Just see I'm going live in a couple of places. Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I streamed, since I uploaded anything on this channel, really. I was kind of disappointed because last year I didn't upload any videos. Well, I did. It was... What I did was that I made a collab with Emperor Tiger Star. So that was like the big video I made last year. But other than that, I didn't upload anything onto the channel, and I'm a little... how would I say this? I'm a little disappointed about that, yeah. But it was a year where I had, like, I picked up a job that it was, like, a very good opportunity. And this coming year, that job has been renewed for what I would call a very intense period. A very intense period of, like, upcoming work. So I will still be on my job. I just wanted to tell you guys I'm going to be changing the type of content that I'm making, and we're still doing history and we're still doing things like that, but yeah. When did you become a VTuber? I just did. This is a video where I'm announcing to everyone that I'm a VTuber, basically. In reality, this model that you're seeing right now has been in the process of being designed, to put it one way, since 2023. But it's been a very slow process of like getting it done, you know? So, yeah, pretty much that. Hi, hello. Congrats for the job. In what field? I'm doing like university stuff. Still, I'm a mathematician. I'm a research assistant at the moment, and I have a contract that's like for a year. The contract ends in September for the research project I'm working on. And I also have another job that I cannot discuss, I believe. But you guys will figure out about it relatively soon, I think. Because it is YouTube related, and it will result in the uploading of some YouTube videos when it eventually, you know, when that contract's over. So yeah. I guess kind of what I wanted to say is that when I made the Quebec series, right? The Quebec series was something I did when I was like in my early 20s, almost, well, mid 20s. It was during COVID, right? So my lifestyle and everything about how I carried myself was very different, you know, and I think repeating that kind of content, just kind of like doing that sort of thing again, would be very difficult at this stage of my life. And it's a bad thing that it has kind of impacted my ability to continue uploading videos upon this channel, to kind of want to recreate that, you know, that sort of style. YouTube has changed a lot since I started. There's also, how would I say, there's been like a rise in AI, you know, like AI content, and YouTube is prioritizing our ability to sort of compete with the publishing rhythms of AI slub farms, basically. And there's a problem with that, because like if you're trying to make YouTube videos the way I make them, you cannot simply like keep up an upload rhythm that's parallel to that craft. Hi. Yeah, you cannot keep like the same upload rhythm, basically. And then again, yeah, it's complicated. It's a different stage. The platform is demanding different things from us, and we just kind of have to adapt. Kraut is having similar problems, you know, like throughout the last year he didn't upload all that much, and he's had other problems of a different sort that I don't think I should discuss here, but yeah, it's just been a hard time for like the pull and bull style video essay thing. And I think I will become a VTuber largely to continue making history videos, or videos about things that interest me, still with the same like research slash educational angle, but yeah. Hello, GGFF, and Stad Republic Mulhausen. Okay. Yeah, hello guys. So basically, I'm announcing that I'm a VTuber now. Yeah. And that we will be changing like maybe not the content but the presentation to something that I believe will be more sustainable for me. And if you have been looking at the channel relatively recently, you might have noticed some of those things have changed as well. For example, we don't have, like, we changed the profile picture and such. Yeah. I also have to say that you know, throughout the process of having a YouTube channel, it's not exactly because because of the YouTube channel necessarily, but I figured out I'm transgender, and yeah, I guess I kind of wanted to express that because the videos that I made before are coded a certain way that's not exactly how I want to be seen. So like Cleo from Face Connect, yes, she, her old videos, let's say, really inspire kind of what when I was thinking about how to remake the channel, let's just say that her old videos gave me a lot of ideas as for a direction I could pick for myself. Yes, I have to say that another of my inspirations is someone else, but I will not say her name because unfortunately she has dedicated the most of her presence online to defending Israel. Yeah, so no, I'm not going to recognize that, but yes. Best pronunciation of my username I have heard from a streamer. Stad Republik Mulhausen. I don't speak German, but like, you know, I'm in community with enough Germans that I can like pick up stuff. Good luck on becoming a VTuber, very based. Yeah. I don't know how much I will be active in the VTubing space per se, because I think that VTubing, if done classically, you know, because there's like a classic way of doing that, has certain rules and certain dynamics that are maybe not ideal for someone who discusses history or politics. Like, you have to stick to a certain kayfabe, it is called, where you maintain a sort of fantasy and a character and things like that. And you know, the nature itself of like a VTuber discussing history and real life events is kind of contrary to the escapism that some traditional enjoyers of the medium like. So, in the measure that I'm a VTuber in presentation. I do have friends that are VTuber. That sounds so weird to say. I do have friends that are VTuber. Yeah, no, like I do have friends that are VTubers, and I will at some point work with them. And but yeah, I mostly just want to continue making history videos in a way that's more fitting to me and in this moment that I am and such. But yeah. Do you like the design? Do you like the model? I've been working on it's been a long pregnancy to get it. To put it one way, it's like it took like almost 3 years to get it to this point, and it's still not done. Like, the things that you're seeing right now is just a working model for the time being. It's the animation will be updated. Let's just say it like that. It's part of why I'm just showing like the head at the moment. Yeah. Just it's supposed to be pronounced Stadt at the start. Oh, okay. Yeah. The eyes are a bit distracting. Yeah. It's the style. I'm sorry about that. I think the eye physics can be. They can be redressed, but that's like configuration stuff that I haven't moved too much. But cute. Thank you. I love history and VTuber, so it will definitely be following this channel. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. But I am not German. Ah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I know it's relatively common for people to pick like German names in the country will like space. I don't know. It's strange to me because I was never especially interested in German history. German history, from my point of view, is too insular within the context of Europe. And the history of Spain or of France or of Portugal, for example, is more connected to the rest of the world in a way that required, you know, international trade. Generally, the Atlantic European countries have that sort of texture to it, and they're more involved in the international scene. And I am primarily interested in Latin America, so that has always been just part of like what I do. So I never looked too much at Germany, but looking at Poland and you know, just a lot of like history media for kids in Europe, like the Playmobil toys, if you know what those are. A lot of them are German, like heavily German in like presentation style, what have you. And as far as I know, Playmobil was French. Like maybe I'm wrong about that, but Playmobil, I thought it was French. And I was so sad because I was in Paris like a couple of weeks ago, and I went there to do tourism, and there used to be like a Playmobil world. Like, you know, it's like Disney World but for Playmobil. And I went there when I was like 5 years old, and I wanted to go there again, but it closed. It closed, and now it's a fucking Lidl. For those of you who aren't like Europeans watching this, like Lidl is it's like Walmart. It's like the German Walmart, and it's everywhere. Yeah. I am Alsatian though. Oh, okay. The name is historical reference to a random city-state. I see. Which is also the city where I come from. Hi. Hi. Yeah. I'm just announcing to the world, I'm a VTuber. Playmobil is German. Oh my god, you have just changed my entire worldview. I thought it was French. I thought we invented it. Turns out we didn't. I'll go. There's like a French YouTuber called Monsieur Playmo that he's very cool. He's just like really passionate about Playmobil. I'm scratching my nose there. Okay, yeah. So he's really passionate about Playmobil, and I really like his videos. And you know, like a couple of days ago, I became interested in seeing like, oh, I wonder what his first video was, because he's been making videos for like years now. Like, he's had a channel maybe for as long as Head maybe has had a YouTube channel, so that it's like a long time, right? And I wanted to see what his first video was, and I almost like cracked laughing because he did like a like a Playmobil recreation of the Charlie Hebdo attacks, you know. But he was like a 12-year-old when he did that, so in a way it's endearing because it's like clearly a kid that's interested in like current events and trying to find a way to express that interest. But I don't know. I guess it was shocking for me, like the recreation, because it was very good. He invested a lot in making that. Yeah. Please also do a video about Eastern European history, at least weird tidbits like the Romanian Jewish who became a modern conquistador. If you look at Kraut's videos, maybe the Hungary ones that he will be uploading soon, the first 4 are all of my drawings. Eastern European history. I would have to think about it. I'm not super familiar with Eastern Europe. I should, because like my partner is Eastern European, but I should probably become more interested. Right now I'm reading literature. Last year I picked up 2 books by Polish authors. One of them was Czesław Miłosz, who was like he's hard to describe. It's like he's like a Catholic nationalist. But those guys were important in Poland, because when they were trying to justify like their transition out of communism, well, not really communism, state socialism, they needed to like have a crutch, and Poland was strange in the context of like the Eastern Bloc, because it was one of those countries that remained profoundly religious, even as it transitioned outside of, the traditional statecraft of those states. It's really strange because Eastern Germany, out of communism, well, out of state socialism, became. Oh, my head is clipping. Oh my god, let me fix it. It became really atheistic, I will say. It became a country that, yeah, basically, well, not a country, but a region that basically lost all its religious practice. But Poland is a country that like came out double, triple, and quadruple recharged on its religiosity. Yeah. So Czesław Miłosz is one of the people who kind of spearheaded a literary movement of like Poland stepping out of like the Eastern Bloc, in the sense that yeah, he gained like a Nobel Peace Prize for literature, and he wrote a bunch of things saying like, oh, the Polish people should go back to liberal democracy and be Catholics, and things like that, and he very much is like a Roger Scruton kind of conservative, if you know who that is, who's like a guy that thinks that you can only have like liberal democracy if you have it in the context of like certain people who have okay, in the context of like certain people who have certain values, let's say. And I don't like that, and I don't like him. But you know, I was reading through like Nobel Prize winners on literature, and he was like one of the guys that popped up, and I was like, huh, okay. Eastern Europe nation building. Let's see what he has to say. I didn't love what he said. I'm not impressed, but it's whatever, right? Like, you don't have to like every book you read. Everybody outside Eastern Europe imagine Eastern Europe to be only Russia. No, no. I believe me, I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't. There is also Ukraine and Poland. Yeah, the others don't. Okay. You also broke the kayfabe by telling that you have a partner. Yeah, yeah. But I want to be open about the fact that I have a partner because, yeah, no, I don't want guys flirting with me. Like, sorry. Here's a small token of support. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks. I got a lot of resources for like VTubing, streaming, and things. This background that you see right there, it's not the definitive one. It's not the one I will be using, but a lot of the things that I will be using were being made in 2025, and production just kind of extended into 2026. But I really just wanted to upload something onto this channel. I am tired of just like letting it accumulate dust. So yeah, pretty sure East Germany is the exception, with only Czechia following them. Yeah, it's a whole subject, that one, because basically within the communist, I keep saying that, within the state socialist Eastern European countries that were not Russia, though Russia also, you know, increased its religiosity after the fall of the Soviet Union, there used to be a communistic, let's call it that way, idea of nationalism in which the greater objective of communism is to create a stateless, moneyless society where the means of production are publicly owned. Like, that's the objective, right? And in statelessness, there's an implicit idea that you know, you can have nations in the sense of like human communities of social equals, but you can't have nationalism in the sense that, you know, a country is the host of a single state with a single people and a single language and things like that. So, for example, when these countries were ruled for like maybe 60-50 years under that system, there was some level of emphasis put by the leaders of the state to say, okay, we're not going to try to think of ourselves as countries, we're trying to think of ourselves as like an international community, an international political movement trying to achieve a certain political project, right? And in the interest of that, we won't, you know, hedge on that we are countries, you know, that we are nation states. But then when the system unfolds, a lot of people want to go back to like the old way of doing things. A lot of people in power, and they have to come up again with like nation state ideas. You know, they have to look into their past and find like items of their culture and their history to rebuild their identities. And religion for a lot of these countries was just kind of part of that. You know, religion was something to come back to, I guess. It's strange in some senses because these things are not completely understood. You know, there's no rule among human communities that we need to, you know, become less religious out of like certain developments, let's say. but it's interesting in a way that you can have countries that are in effect theocracies, right? Like Britain, where the head of state is also the head of the church, or a lot of the Nordic countries that are kind of like that as well. But those countries are less religious than some Eastern European republics, basically. Even though those republics have a history of like militant state atheism that in some cases worked. In some cases it succeeded at just kind of not having religion be a thing of public life before, like East Germany. But it's not the case everywhere. So yeah. That's something that could be like a video subject, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's very well researched. Yeah. That's a state religion, not a theocracy. I mean, you can put it that way, but like, the head of state is the head of the church in Britain. Like, they are ruled like it's like the Pope in a sense, right? Like, the Pope rules the Vatican. Why did you become a VTuber, and why does your character look like a girl? Because I'm a girl. I'm a woman, yeah. Probably something unknown on the channel. I didn't make an effort to present myself that way, but yeah. Yeah, I'm just I'm trans. I will say that I'm trans, but I'm also I always have been quite boyish, even as I walk out or through the steps of my transition, right? So there are some aspects of masculinity that I have never been completely uncomfortable with in the way that some trans women are. But yeah, basically that. Will you use Paradox games to present history? I'm sure I've seen other channels. I am split. This is one of the questions that I have kind of wondered for years now. The thing is that you have to understand something about me. Like, when I was a kid, I played a lot of Age of Empires and Age of Mythology. And then when I became a teenager, like a late teenager, I went into like 4chan and Paul. And in Paul, I played something that's not played anymore. So I don't encourage you to go there if you want the same kind of experience. But like, there used to be a Risk game that was played in 4chan using the numbers that you get at the end of your ID as a tool to just sort of, yeah, like claim tiles on the map, And when I was a kid, I did that, and when I was a teen, I did that, and I'm sort of in a stage of my mind where I don't want to play games with maps, I guess if you guys want that, I could do it. I kind of don't, but I'm in some sense, being a YouTuber, you're kind of a clown, and you do have to contemplate what would keep the people watching the clown entertained, right? so if you guys want me to watch like Paradox games, I don't know, maybe for like 50,000 subs, I will do that. We're not that far. But yeah, why not? I do know that a lot of people, how would I say this? They gained an interest in history by looking at, what would I call them? Paradox games or history games in general. And then what happened is that they went on to become video essayists. I think a good example of that is Freda. if you look at Freda's channel, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before he started making like history videos debunking like internet historians and such, Freda used to be like a Paradox channel, right? Like he played Paradox games. But then, he found a lot more fulfillment out of video essays, I think. Yeah. And since he's like an actual historian, like not like me, I'm a mathematician, right? But since he's like an actual historian that's licensed, he's done a lot of great videos, just like, imposing how history is actually thought and done onto, how people who treat it more as like a hobby act into it. Congratulations on the transition. Yeah. Oh, I've been transitioning for a while now. Yeah, you might at some point hear like my voice be different. It's just that right now I'm really, really sick. In France, there was like a variant of influenza that was running around, and I caught it the first week of January. So I've been sick for the entire year. Yeah, I've been sick the entirety of 2026, guys. Can you believe it? Hi, Ravine. I discovered you some years ago with Ukrainian anarchy. Congrats on being your true self. What type of videos are you gonna make now? I'm still gonna be making history videos. They're just not gonna be pull and bull necessarily. Yeah. Clown, court jester that drops feeds the king stratagems and policies for the betterment of the realm. They look similar at distance, different up close. Well, I guess. I have to say I didn't even realize you were the channel who made the Quebec videos. I just thought YouTube recommended me these randomly. Yes, I made the Quebec series. C'est moi qui a fait la vidéo sur la Quebec. Yeah. It's just that, I want to change how I make videos. I don't want to make like long controversial video essays anymore. They are unwise to produce, given the state of YouTube right now. And I've seen... There are many ways I could say this without sounding like a bitch, but I have seen videos that... Well, I have seen channels that discuss history or geography or what have you that put a lot less work into what they do, but find a lot more success. Just by having regular upload schedules and what have you, and I would like to sustain that, because otherwise I don't think I will be able to sustain the channel, right? Also, I feel kind of stuck with Crunchyballs in the sense that I kind of developed a style, right? Like I probably am one of the most prolific Crunchyroll artists on the planet. I draw, like last year I measured, and the year after that, I draw at least 1,000 pollen ball a year, right? So I think I want to say to myself, like, yeah, I've had enough. I've contributed to the medium, right? Like I've done. I made the longest series, like the longest Crunchyroll series. The Quebec series is 5 hours. All of Crowd series are like slightly below 5 hours, right? So I think I can like leave the towel, right? Like enough is enough. I have to say, I didn't. Okay. I got sick for Christmas. Yeah, it sucks. We couldn't know you were missing for some times. Yeah. That's basically it. Like I disappear for like a year. I have like an H Bomber guy / ContraPoint upload schedule, but I don't have like half of the public recognition that those guys have. So yeah, it's just not a sustainable way to run a channel. It's I'm sorry. Like, if you enjoyed the previous ways of making videos and you don't enjoy VTubing, and that makes you less interested in what I do, that's something I understand. But if you're interested in like me as a person, or me as a creator, and me as what I can possibly do, then I hope you support me through this, because it probably is like the only way that I can continue making videos. Crowd has, when discussing the other channel and like the 5 years that have passed where we've been making videos together, Crowd has like a lot more subscribers and a lot more resources and a much bigger Patreon. And even then, I was able to, create stuff that was parallel with a lot less resources. But I've just kind of hit a wall with understanding that that's not sustainable. Even for him at the moment, I think it's not exactly sustainable, but I'll let him talk about that if he ever wants to talk about that. I won't disclose like his issues. But yeah, I will become like a history VTuber. Blah blah blah. So yeah, that was mostly the purpose of the stream, announcing that. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy to be back. I do have a video on the making that will be more traditional, let's say. Because someone last year commissioned a video essay from me about the history of political conservatism, So, you know how there was like a political history of Ukrainian anarchism? I think I will be making something called political history of conservatism, like Western conservatism, but I am still thinking about the presentation. Glad you're still here making videos. Thanks. I am prepared to bleed subscribers like you have no idea. Yeah. Let's just say that I used to stream on this channel before. Like, it's not my first attempt at becoming a VTuber, but the previous attempts were not well received. Because I also used this channel for like gaming streams, and I guess people were not interested in that. I don't know. Like 2021 and 2022 were like 2023. Yeah. That was a complicated year for me because I had a lot of success on YouTube, like I was growing very fast. But then again, on Twitter and other platforms that were similar, there were people who were telling me like I found them to be much harder platforms to grow. And I got into like a stupid mindset where I was valuing like Twitter following more than YouTube following. And I can tell you that that's like the worst mindset you can be in as a content creator. Every single stupid drama that you see a content creator get into is because they're on Twitter engaging people. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I watch ContraPoints, right? Like I watch ContraPoints, and there were like 2 or 3 times she was cancelled for stuff, and then she made videos about it. But as someone who's not on Twitter, I just never understood why that happened, right? Like watching her videos was like, this woman has like a life. She has a whole ass life on a website that I yeah, that I wasn't aware of, and it occupies so much of her mind. So please, if you follow other YouTubers or whatever, just tell them not to use Twitter. Like, I use Twitter, but it's mostly for like VTuber stuff. Yeah, no, I don't want to get engaged into like the community aspect of Twitter, because I've seen what it does to people. Like, holy shit. It consumes your mind and your thoughts, and then it's like, Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? That's like the only way I can express it. It's so insular, and right now that it's been bought by Musk, it's become worse than it was before. It's it's signal boosting, like fascism, to put it one way. A history of conservatism from a left winger would be something. Yeah, this video is probably the best researched video I have made, precisely because, you know, I see the problem that you're pointing to, right? Like, it's coming from someone that has clear bias. But I've gone through the effort of like sourcing it and you know, making the research as good as I can. I've noticed something that is just kind of part of like where history YouTube is right now, which is that audiences really like sources. You know, you really like being able to be given the opportunity to like do your own reading, your extended reading, because it's not everyone, right? Like, there's a lot of people for whom a YouTube video is like their one and only engagement with a subject, and that's fine, I guess. For example, there are video games that I have never played, like Mouthwashing, that I will probably never play, and I only have engaged them through like YouTube video essays. And there are people who treat history videos, well, not history videos, but like history subjects that way. You know, they watch one history video and that's just kind of like the thing that sticks with them, and they never watch anything again. And that's fine, but that does gives us like a responsibility as communicators to like speak honestly and better about what we do, because there used to be a time where we were just like stupid people making videos, right, about things that interested us. But after a point, we just reached this certain level where, how would I say this? Where we have a lot of credibility and power that we probably don't deserve. So we have to do our best to like earn it, right? So yeah, the next videos I make, if they're history, they will be very strictly sourced in the Chicago format as well as I can do them. The conservatism video has like over 100 citations. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Because I didn't do like a methodology right, and then I had like a bunch of citations stacking, and holy shit. Being tutor free for more than 3 years, my mental health is doing better. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Also art, but you need to try to find it first, then it comes at you. I use Twitter, but only to look at fan art. I don't interact with people at all. That's a good way of using it. You know, there's like a lot of Twitter users that don't post at all. That's the majority of Twitter users, but then again, you know, it's kind of addictive to to actually engage that kind of community, especially if you become some sort of e-celeb, to put it one way, because there are people who are interested in approaching you and hearing what you have to say and hearing about your experiences. But ultimately, you know, it always gets to your head in a bad way. And I encourage people not to use Twitter, or if you are someone like me, to have an account simply to like prevent impersonation. But yeah, it's not a good place. It's one of the principal vectors of fascism and right-wing conditioning that exists at the moment. And yeah, just a terrible place to be. Pretty sure it's pronounced shitter. Xither. Okay. I'm unsure. I don't know. I'm not invested in like calling it. It's interesting. It's interesting because it comes down to like how we use language in certain situations. Because like for me, it's not even called Twitter right now. It's called X, but I refuse to call it X because I don't think X is like an appropriate name for the community that used to exist there, right? Like, buying the Twitter brand and then just not using it afterwards is such a strange decision. Because, like, imagine I bought McDonald's, right? Like, I wouldn't buy McDonald's, but imagine I bought McDonald's and then I decided it's not going to be called McDonald's anymore, it's now called O'Hare's. And then every McDonald's in the world has to change its logo. Yeah, yeah, like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? You have a recognizable brand with a convenient name that everyone knows about, and then you change it. So uh, that inability to like update your naming convention, that happened to me. I can't call it X. I won't call it X. I refuse to call it X. But in a way, there's a difference between Twitter and X, let's say, because the rules are different, the accounts being promoted are different, the algorithm is being changed all the time. Like, what's the point, right? It's a terrible place. So, is it worthwhile to make that psychological distinction within oneself, understanding that the thing that used to exist doesn't exist anymore? Philosophy problem. It feels like the worst timeline. Yeah. Yeah. Genghis Khan getting to Bordeaux or winning the war. I think we are in an appropriate timeline. I don't know. Honestly, I'm not that surprised by Trump. I think he's just like Andrew Jackson. You know, he's not unique in the history of American presidents. He's uniquely bad in the sense that there used to be a time where the US empire kind of justified itself on the idea that it was protecting a rules-based international world order, right? So the US was able to do like unilateral military action, sometimes without invoking help of the UN, sometimes without invoking the help of NATO. It was like that, for example, in Iraq. But what's strange about it all is that they still were using the language of human rights and of human rules. But right now, Trump just kind of accepted the logic of Putin. You know, like, we're just a superpower, and we don't have to serve any special ideas of like human interests. We're just gonna do whatever we want, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I guess that's what they were doing before, but now they're being unconstrained about it because, you know, one of the cool things about liberal, let's call it international relations theory, is that you pose the idea that countries that have similar values will want to protect each other, basically. And countries that have similar values will want to have those values projected and secured from like societies or states or entities that want to impede their ability to do that. So you can behave like an aggressor or like an empire or like whatever you want, but say that, oh, I'm doing it in the interest of like the liberal project, and then you can have like a bit of justification in the minds of some people, because then you're saying like, yeah, so I'm doing all these bad things, but I'm doing them for a good reason, right? And I'm just the kind of cynical person about the US that said they never did it for good reasons. But at least they tried to sugarcoat it, and now they just decided they don't want to do it right now. So yeah, interesting. We're very much in cursed territory right now. Yeah, maybe not the worst, but the dumbest. It is very dumb, yeah. I think Trump is senile. Like, he was mocking Biden for having like these weird episodes of like, zoning out and such. But he's like zoning out now as well, and it's so weird. It's so weird. The Supreme Court has made the decision. Now let them enforce it. Jackson talking about defending it. Yeah, exactly. As a non-US individual, Polk seems to be... No, fuck Polk. I have his journal. I have 2 books that are just the transcript of his journal, and he was like the worst person ever. If we were all neutral like Switzerland, then things would be better. I think so, yeah. International relations, liberal, realist, or constructionalist? What? Okay, like which one am I? I would call myself a defensive neo-realist. Within realism, there are like 2 schools that are big right now. Well, there's like the classical realism, but that's a bit outdated, let's say. But there are 2. Number 1 is offensive realism, which basically says that countries seek supremacy, right? They seek supremacy and to control certain aspects about their relationships with others. And that's like your Mearsheimers, for example. That's the people who think that, Russia invading Ukraine is like maybe not right, but it's understandable concerning the geopolitical interests of Russia, right? And then there's defensive realists. There's like offensive and defensive. And defensive realists say that countries don't look for supremacy, they look for security. They take decisions in such a way that, guarantees their continued ability to exist as such, and like that's their priority, or it should be. And yeah, for example, the government of China is like, I would say they're defensive neo-realists as well, because they're mostly concerned with their own well-being, not really projecting power outwards, and to the degree that they do, it's not as much of an expeditionary country as the United States, for example. Liberal states are likely to go to war in the way that the offensive neo-realists also are, because they think that if you have a big power that's liberal, then you should also look for other countries that are liberal, because there's something called democratic peace theory that basically says that countries that have like similar constitutions, it's not really constitutions, but like we could call it constitutions, right? They don't really go to war because they work in very similar ways, and they have relatively similar utensils to like solve their problems and their differences. So if all the world was liberal, right, then you wouldn't have a necessity for war, because you could have like a system of rules that allowed everyone to just kind of solve problems in a certain way that's not violent, that's institutional, let's say. But the problem is that we don't live in that world, and so there are some liberals that say, okay, well, let's create that world, right? Like, let's go in expeditions and create liberal states where there are none. And that's how you get like the color revolutions and that sort of stuff. Yeah, that's how you get like US intervention, CIA intervention. It's motivated by what some people could call a good thing. If you say that, oh, we should all want like international institutions to be able to be the problem-solving mechanisms for conflict between countries, but it's cynical. The US is not. It has like geopolitical interests like any other country, and yeah. What's your thoughts on what's happening internally in the US, like the situation in Minnesota? I'm not surprised. Like, I mean, a lot of people were shocked at the shooting of like Renee. Uh, her name skips me, but I know she was called Renee. It was very tragic, but when I look at that kind of police violence in the United States, it has been happening for a very long time, like Black Americans have been victims of the same kind of police violence for a very long time. I guess it's shocking for a lot of people because it happened to a white woman, and because of racist reasons, there are people who are like particularly protective of white women. So it hits different, right? Like, it cuts different than it cuts in the minds of some people who would not regularly care about police violence as a matter of principle. But in the same way, we have to recognize that a lot of those racists are typically the people in power. So it is shocking to me that that violence is finally being turned inwards, right? Like, Malcolm X would say it as like the chickens have come home to roost. I don't think I would necessarily say it the same way, but the institutions that are doing this have always been there. The current director of ICE, he worked on the Obama administration as well. Like, you can research that. It's something that's been decades in the making. It's not something that's all that new. What's new is that Trump is incredibly brazen, like incredibly brazen. So he doesn't care to have like a semblance of respect for institutions, at least in the way that previous American presidents tried to. So that's what makes him special, right? He's brazen, and maybe he's senile, and he surrounded himself with other brazen people who are smarter and less senile, and they just kind of compete in the court to get like their pet issues advanced. So yeah, like, it's so strange. It's so strange. It's so weird to me because I will talk about this a bit in the video about conservatism, but you would imagine that these people had everything they wanted already. Like, Trump is a billionaire. The US already has like hemispheric dominance when it comes to the Americas. Like, in the words of like what's his name, the turtle guy. What's his name? The senator, Mitch McConnell. Yeah. Mitch McConnell already said it like in very clear terms. Like, the US already has everything it wants, right? From Greenland, for example. But now Trump wants Greenland, so it's weird, right? The Decade War of Syria, yeah. The ICE stuff was 100% to be expected, and Trump voter base at least 100% support. Yeah, to some degree. I mean, I don't know. I'm not American, so your internal politics and their details are not like intimate to me. But I do know that there are a lot of people who don't like migrants. Yeah. I don't expect it to stop since pretty much what people voted for better or worse. Yeah, I guess. It looks like Minnesota is a test to see how far they can go. I can see that. Yeah. People naturally care more about bad things that happen to their own group. Yeah, I guess. That's not a good thing, though. It's not a good thing, especially if you consider yourself a liberal, because liberalism is based on certain ideas about human universality, right? Of universal rights, of protections and guarantees for everyone. And like, I'm not a liberal, I'm a socialist, but in that sense, liberalism and like more leftist traditions agree on that basic premise. Master Uguay? No, I'm thinking of Mitch McConnell. I don't know why I call he. There's some reason in my head as for why he's like a turtle. I don't know which one. I'm confused. But yeah, like it came to mind, right? It came to mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm very concerned about Venezuela because, like, again, I'm more interested in Latin America and what happens here, and I guess the U.S. being this aggressive is something that hasn't happened in a very long time. I guess the last time they did something like this was with Salvador Allende, but even then they were more delicate, right? Like with the Pinochet coup in the 80s, I think. Um, so yeah, just I will talk more about this on my conservatism video, but you would imagine that the US would be satisfied with being like the only superpower, but no, I mean its political class wants to consolidate even more things, and it's sad because the world I knew when I was growing up was kind of rooted on this idea that we were all respecting each other as countries, right? But no, it just even if it was a fiction, right? Like now it's being discarded in such a way that I don't even know how to articulate it. It's just it's a very different place. It's a very different place. When I was a kid, I wanted to work in the UN, and I wanted to do like things about climate change, and that's largely why I went into a science, right? Because I thought that, oh yeah, like I'm going to invent like the solar panel, and yeah, I'm gonna put it like everywhere, and have whatever just by like being a scientist. But a lot of the barriers to those things happening are political. You know, they're not. It's not like being a science is. It's not like there are a lot of barriers to doing things that are political, and I guess that's ultimately why I became interested in history, because even though I am primarily a scientist, I am very concerned about, you know, the strings that are like above us. Like I don't want to find myself in the position of like Oppenheimer, you know, where you do a lot of work with your scientific talent and you have like your experiments and whatever, but then one day, you know, they just put all of your work into a box and then they take it away, and yeah, you know, like you're no longer relevant to the interest of the people who fund your research, let's say. So yeah, pretty sure whites are also using. No. Don't come at me with. If you want to read about that subject, I have a book I can recommend to you. Yeah, by Nell Irving Painter, The History of White People. Basically, the concept of whiteness is, as we understand it today, it's not the same way as it was understood a long time ago. So, no. The premise of your statement is it's a lot more complicated than that, and no. By definition, if you were considered white at a certain moment in history, you were like excluded from discrimination. And the definition is flexible because the people who are discriminated change over time. Basically, it's that. Funny enough, the last one was in agreement with age, wasn't the German Eastern settling? What? For Venezuela, at best, it's gonna be like the Panama invasion, and where it's gonna turn to another Libya. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm happy because I knew people in Venezuela a long time ago that just didn't have like anything to eat, right? Food prices were very high. The blockade kept things very complicated. I had a friend that I was like in regular communications with that at some point in his life he was like surviving off raw mangoes, right? Not raw mangoes, but like wild mangoes, right? And it's really complicated because the blockade did that to them. Their economy was fine. It's just that the moment that they were blockaded, they started suffering that way. And well, what do you do in that situation, right? I'm glad for the people who are going to be able to eat, but aside that, I don't have any good expectations. It will not turn into Olivia. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like I think we should just admit that we don't know what's gonna happen. History YouTube YouTube channels in general that discuss these histories like pitch themselves on their ability to make predictions sometimes, like videos about what's gonna happen in this country in the future, right? Like, no, that's speculative fiction. We don't know. I know the blockade is gonna be lifted, and I'm glad for people who are going to be able to eat and for food prices to go down, but like other than that, I'm just not happy. Zero, nada, rien de rien. So, yeah, but ultimately, I mean, we're living through precedented times. And, yeah, like, I hope the best possible scenario happens for Venezuela. For me, best possible scenario would be new elections overseen by the UN, minimal influence from foreign actors, and for refugees to be able to return. Because you guys are probably not aware of this, but Venezuelans in Latin America consist of like the largest refugee group. I think at some point they were like the biggest refugee group on earth, just out of people that were escaping the blockade. And you know, in Colombia, in Panama, in Brazil, Venezuelans are kind of like the Uber drivers, right? Like the Uber Eats guys, the people who take like the most demanding jobs, the worst things, just because they don't have any money. They sell these things called arepas, which is like how would I describe it? It's like it's food inside a maze circle, like a panned maze circle, and you know, they go to the street and then they sell those to people, and and that is just kind of like the street food, and it's everywhere, and it's displaced some sorts of like more domestic street foods in certain countries, and some people are annoyed at that. But the reason why that's happening at all is because of the refugee crisis, right? Because Venezuelans, in when they're expatriates, they just kind of have nothing to eat and nothing to do. So yeah, they take the lowest jobs. They are socially resented for it. And if there's one thing I'm glad about, is that that will probably end, but I'm still not sure about it. I've seen it when visiting Spain with protests against Venezuelan refugees in Spain. Okay, I've never been to Spain. I wouldn't be able to know. Ugh. Okay. Well, I should probably have breakfast. relatively soon. It's like 10 a.m. and I've eaten nothing. So mm, I will be closing the stream. I have a Discord you can join. You can find it on the channel. And yeah, I will be VTubing from now on. You guys can see that. Mm, yeah, I guess I just wanted to tell you that I'm still me. I'm still here. Still going to be making the same videos as always. If you're interested in what I have to say, I'm just gonna change the format a bit, and I hope you can uh like stick around for that. If you can't, I understand. But if you do, I appreciate it. And I hope to be doing newer things and better this year. And all the ones that come where I continue doing YouTube. So, okay. That will be it. I will be closing the stream now. Have a good morning. Or evening if you're in Europe. It should be like 5 p.m. in France, I think. Okay. Alright. See ya, guys. Bye bye.